where he now begins to give us the sense of what these are: demoniacal nature and its consequences. So here he starts off by saying, they do not know what to do, what to refrain from, neither purity nor right conduct nor the truth is found in them. So, as I was saying, this sense of discrimination allows us to know what to do and what not to do, and what is right conduct and what is wrong conduct. Here, there is no discernment, there's no discrimination in the demoniacal person, and therefore ends up doing the wrong thing because he's not even thinking. And if you're not thinking, then you are becoming reactive. If you are becoming reactive, it is only because you are following the vasanas. So you say to yourself, "Oh, I like this," and immediately go and get it. And if it's food, you start eating it. Even knowing that I'm a diabetic, I'm not supposed to be eating this huge bar of chocolate. But there is no refrain, and not knowing what to do. Then Bhagavan goes to say, they say the universe is without truth. They don't believe in truth. They say, no, there's nothing called truth. There is no moral basis for any action in the world. Without a God, there is no God, not brought up about by any regular causal sequence. He says there is no kind of causality involved with either divine or anything else. And with lust for its cause, what else? They say there's nothing else. There's no truth. There is no morality. There's no God. There's nothing. And what we are going to do is just desire. Desire becomes the basis of everything. It's about doing your transaction on a day-to-day basis, just based on your likes and dislikes, on what I want to do because it is dictating me to do that. Says what else? There's nothing else. Holding this view, these ruins souls of small intellect. Small intellect means that they don't have the capacity for discrimination. They do fierce deeds, come forth as the enemies of the world for its destruction. And there are many examples in history, if you look at it, that there are people who have come into the world just for the destruction of human beings, genocide taking place, all these kind of things. Where do these things come from? This is what Bhagwan is telling us 10,000 years ago, that there are going to be people like this. And of course, even in his own time, they were there. And then he goes on to say, filled with insatiable desires, full of hypocrisy, pride, and arrogance, holding evil ideas through delusion, they work with impure resolves. Again, the focus is what? The focus is me and mine. The focus is this insatiable desires which keep on expressing themselves and pushing this person towards doing all these wrong things, full of hypocrisy, saying one thing, doing another, thinking one thing, saying another thing. There's a complete fragmentation of the thought, word, and deed. They're not at all aligned. And they keep on doing that with pride and arrogance. I am the most important person in the universe. I have got this, that, and the other. I've got this nature. I've got this capacity. I've got this huge 20 million pound house, etc. Pride about everything, arrogance, holding evil ideas through delusion. They work with impure resolves. Impure means that they are rajasic and tamasic in nature. And as long as that impurity is there, they will keep on expressing their desires, fulfilling their desires in this kind of way, giving themselves over to immeasurable cares, ending only with death, regarding gratification of lust as their highest aim. Gratification of lust as their highest aim. What are they interested in? Only fulfilling their desire. That is their best thing they want. Highest aim, I want this and I'm going to get it by hook or by crook. And that is their highest aim. And feeling sure that this is all that matters, nothing else matters. It's about me, it's about mine, it's about the gratification of my desires, and that is my highest aim in this life, and that's all I'm going to go for. So, this will remind ourselves of people we have already known. But at the same time, we got to consider that, you know, parts of these things also exist within us. If we want to be honest with ourselves, we will see some of these things are there somewhere within us. Not to this extreme, but certainly we are having desires. We are having this idea that, this is what I want to achieve, this is what I want to do. And I've got this hope, and I've got this aspiration, which I want to, uh, you know, which I'm bound, and I'm attached to all these things. And we are also kind of given to anger and, you know, wanting things in our life, which is okay. But when we are following the spiritual path, then we have to examine these things very carefully. Where are we in terms of these qualities which Bhagwan is describing? Where we say this is an extreme case, as it were. But certainly there are milder cases of the demoniacal nature as well. And what they say is, this has today been gained by me. Now this person comes home and say, you know what I did today, what I gained today, what I did, what I attained, what I got. And that is their talk all the time. And we know that, sometimes a group of people come together, and what they keep on talking about is nothing but who has what amount of wealth. How did they get there? And this is my wealth. This is what I have. This wealth shall also be mine in the future. When they look at other people, jealousy. They become so jealous about other people, and they want the same thing for themselves. And they try so hard to get that. That enemy has been slain by me, the others also I shall destroy. I am the Lord, I am the enjoyer, I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the Lord doesn't mean I'm the Lord Bhagwan, but I'm the Lord of my own universe and my own body, mind, intellect. I am the enjoyer. This is what they say. And he says, I am rich and well born. Who else is equal to me? Nobody else is equal to me. I give alms and money. See, this is another wonderful thing, is that giving alms does not arise out of a sattvic intention, but rather it's rajasic and a tamasic. They will give alms. Why? Because they want their photograph to be taken, to be publicized in the paper, and say, look, this is what I've got. I will rejoice because this is what I've got. Thus are they deluded by ignorance. So going further, bewildered by many a fancy, entangled in the snare of delusion, addicted to the gratification of lust, they fall into foul hell. So, this is the consequence. Many a fancy, bewildered by many a fancy, entangled in the snare of delusion. So, you can imagine these two things. What is the snare of delusion? Is that I am this individual ego operating in this world in this kind of way, and the only thing important for me is desires. My desires, which need to be expressed. I need to get this, and so on and so on. And this world is real, and it is a source of my happiness. I'll go and get all my happiness I can from the world. That's one part of it. And the other part is many a fancy. Imagination. Imagination is really when it comes in a mixture with the ego and the desire. Imagine what happens. This kind of fancy imagination that this is to be attained, and this is the imagination which I have. So, first of all, playing in the imagination, then entangled in this idea that this is me and I want to attain that which has come to my imagination. They get addicted and attached to the objects of their desires and addicted to gratification of lust, desires. Addiction, it becomes like an addiction. I want this, I want this, I want this. And even if it is taken away from there, they get these withdrawal symptoms. And sometimes, people say, oh, I can't live without having this ambition. I can't live without having all these desires. Because if I try to think about giving up all these things, it is as if I've got nothing. I've got nothing to do, nothing to say, nothing to kind of do. In fact, I slip into a kind of lazy state of the mind, a deluded state of the mind. Sometimes I feel I'm completely bored because I've got nothing to do. So they fall into a foul hell. And this is what Bhagavan calls as the kind of slipping down of the demoniacal nature, which drags the person down into this very foul hell. So, what does it mean when we say foul hell? Is that it is really the worst kind of experience one can have. So, imagine that when we talk about hell, we are talking about, the extremes of suffering. And there are various ways in hell is depicted. But of course, at the heart of all that is really suffering. And we know that, this suffering will come if we begin to have all these kind of ways of being in the world and expressing all these fancies and desires and delusions and running after various different things through our desires. We end up in suffering. Self-conceited, stubborn, filled with pride, drunk with wealth, they perform sacrifices in the name of ostentation. So again, they were giving, alms. They were doing dana. But the dana was from where? It was from a rajasic tendency or even a tamasic one, where they don't even know why they're giving something, but they're giving something because everybody else is giving. And even here, the demoniacal person may offer sacrifices, perform sacrifices, but just for showing off. Just to show off, they will do what other people are doing because they want to be recognized that I can also do it and I can do it for show and look as if I'm a pious person. But the thing is, they do things contrary to the scriptural ordinance. They're doing things not according to the Shastras, but they do something which is completely different. And of course, we know that the basis for all our life, our actions, our living, our life is really the Pramana, which is the Shastra Pramana. It is on the basis of the scriptures that we have to know what is right, what is wrong, what is the divine nature, and how we can move towards that by doing the right thing, thinking right, feeling right, doing right. So if I tell you thinking right, doing right, feeling right, what does that mean? How will you know what is the right thing to do? How will you know what is the right thing to think about? How will you know what is the right feeling you must entertain? We must have some reference point. And of course, here the reference point is the scriptural ordinance. And that is the important bit of it because the next chapter is going to take the journey into the scriptural ordinance and the basis of working according to the scriptures. What is the most important thing? If we want to say to ourselves, okay, you're telling me to do things according to what the scriptures are telling me, how can I trust it? I don't have any faith in the scriptural injunctions or the ordinance of the scriptures. What we need in order to function in our transactional life according to the Shastra, we need to have primarily the faith in the Shastra. Without that faith, we are not going to go as per the prescriptions of our scriptures. And you're all here because you have faith that the Bhagavad Gita is telling me something which I have faith in. And I'm willing to follow these prescriptions given by the Master himself so that it will take me towards the wellness of the mind and spiritual enlightenment. That is the prescription Bhagavan is giving us. But we need to have faith in the scriptural ordinance. And Bhagavan is going to tell us about faith in the next chapter, which is the threefold faith. Meanwhile, Bhagavan says, is given to egoism, power, haughtiness, lust, anger, and these malicious people hate me in their own bodies and in those of the others. So these people don't want to have any sense of divinity in their own body. In other words, they don't recognize that it is not, it is the Atma which is really making this body, mind, intellect to function. But they will not admit it. And on the contrary, they will hate anything to do with spirituality, with religion, not only in themselves, but also in the other people as well around them. So when they see somebody who has cultivated those qualities which we have been talking about, I hate this person. Look at him. He's too this, that, and the other. So they hate me in their own bodies and they hate in the others as well because they're full of egoism, full of this sense of complete, completely full of this sense of ego, this identity, this me and mine, and very haughty. Pride is there, and this sense of power. Now, why do we say sense of power? Is because these people feel that I am this powerful person. I have got this capacity to express this power in my life, and it is through this power that I express my desire. It is through this power that I'm going to attain all these things which my desires are leading me towards, and full of lust and anger. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. These are the hallmarks of the ego. Okay. So Kama and Krodha, desire and anger. These, Bhagavan says, are really the things which drive the demoniacal nature. And greed comes more and more as they get more and more. They become greedier and greedier. On the other hand, if they don't get what they want, what is the immediate reaction? Anger. Anger towards the world, anger towards other people who are kind of standing in their way. They will push them out of the way. They will scream and shout and get what they want.